I never imagined that my wedding day would start with a lie. Not just any lie, but one that shattered every bit of trust one thought I had. My name is Grayson Hale. I'm 29, and I was about to marry the love of my life, Madeline Royce. Or at least, that's what I believed. Everything seemed perfect for months. The venue, the invitations, the honeymoon plans. Friends and family were excited. I was calm, prepared, and looking forward to the day when we would finally say I do. But nothing could prepare me for the nightmare I walked into the night before our wedding. It started as a routine check. I had stayed late at the venue to go over some final details with the planner. I wanted to make sure every chair was aligned, every centerpiece perfect, every playlist cued. My best man, Lachlan Ford, had stayed behind to help me carry boxes of decorations. We had been friends since college, and I trusted him with my life. Or at least, I thought I did. I was finishing up when my phone buzzed. It was a notification from a security camera app linked to the bridal suite. I had set it up weeks prior just to keep an eye on decorations overnight. I hadn't really thought much of it, but something compelled me to open it. And that's when I saw them, Madeline and Lachlan, in the suite, far too close for comfort, far too intimate for any excuse. My stomach dropped, my hands went cold, and my throat felt dry. I watched in disbelief, unable to move, as the two people I trusted most in that moment betrayed me completely. For a long minute, I couldn't breathe. Everything in me screamed to storm in, to yell, to throw things. But I didn't. Instead, I did something I never thought I could. I closed the app, walked out of the venue, and got in my car. I drove aimlessly through the city streets, letting the anger and shock mix with the fear and heartbreak. I didn't know what I was going to do, only that I needed clarity. By the time I returned home, I had a plan. Not a reckless one fueled by rage, but a calculated, controlled decision to reclaim the respect I deserved. I didn't want to fight them on emotion. I wanted to win in a way that mattered. I packed a small bag with essentials, nothing dramatic, clothes, wallet, phone, and I left a note on my bedroom nightstand. Not an apology, not a threat, just the truth. I will not marry someone who doesn't respect me. I deserve better. I didn't go to the best man, didn't confront Madeline, didn't send angry messages. I sat in my apartment, alone, thinking about the past few months. The little signs I had ignored. The subtle flirtations I had dismissed as harmless. The late-night texts I had assumed were work-related. It all suddenly made sense. And with that clarity, a strange calm settled over me. The next morning, I sent a single message to the venue coordinator. Wedding canceled. Refunds processed. I didn't explain. I didn't justify. I let the reality speak for itself. Friends began calling, confused, worried, pleading. I ignored them. I wasn't running. I wasn't scared. I was finally free. Then came the moment that truly made the night unforgettable. I remembered something Madeline had once bragged about, how important it was for her to have a picture-perfect wedding, the kind that would look flawless on social media. That obsession with appearances, with approval from strangers, became my opportunity. I had a camera, the same one I had checked the night before, and I set it up to capture one final memory, not of love, but of betrayal exposed. I sent the footage, carefully edited, to a few close friends and family members, not to humiliate, not to start gossip, but to make sure the truth was seen. No lies, no distortions, just facts. Within hours, the reaction was overwhelming. Messages poured in from people who had sensed something off, but didn't know what. The support I felt from those who had witnessed my quiet restraint was enormous. And that's when I realized revenge wasn't about chaos or punishment. Revenge, in its purest form, was about reclaiming control, dignity, and self-respect. Later that evening, Lachlan tried to contact me. Messages unread, calls unanswered. Madeline's mother left a voicemail asking for explanations. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Their panic and confusion were the perfect mirror of the betrayal they had caused. Watching them scramble, trying to fix a situation they had created through dishonesty, gave me a sense of justice far beyond what yelling or confrontation could have provided. The night ended quietly. I sat alone in my apartment, lights dim, music low, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't felt in months. There was no dramatic confrontation, no public shaming, just a calm acknowledgement that I had chosen myself. I had refused to be a pawn in someone else's deception, refused to be a man living a life built on lies. That decision, That simple act of walking away was more powerful than any revenge fantasy I could have imagined. In the following days, Madeline and Lachlan attempted to explain themselves, to apologize, to salvage some remnants of respect. I listened, politely but firmly, knowing that nothing they said could undo the choice I had already made. I focused instead on my life, my friends, and the few small joys that reminded me why I deserved better. The betrayal had been crushing, but it had also been clarifying. I understood exactly what I would and not tolerate, exactly what respect meant in a relationship, and exactly how far I would go to protect my own dignity. In hindsight, the entire situation feels almost cinematic. A wedding canceled, betrayal revealed, revenge taken not through chaos, but through calm, deliberate action. The lesson, if there is one, is simple. Never settle for someone who doesn't value you, and never confuse loyalty with weakness. Walking away was the hardest decision I've ever made, but also the most liberating. I haven't spoken to Madeline since that night, and I don't plan to. Lachlan remains a distant memory, a reminder of misplaced trust. My friends joke about the night of the canceled wedding, but for me, it's more than a story. It's a defining moment, a turning point. And every time I think about that night, I remind myself, dignity cannot be negotiated, respect cannot be bought, and betrayal is only as powerful as you allow it to be. I don't know what the future holds in terms of relationships, but I do know this. I will never allow someone else's deceit to dictate my worth. I have my pride, my independence, and my clarity. And in the end, that night, that revelation, and that quiet act of calculated revenge was worth every pang of heartbreak. It reminded me that sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't shouting or destruction. It's standing firm, walking away, and letting truth and dignity do the talking.